Possible compilation errors. The Java programming language is very strict. If you are a programmer, you have to learn to obey all the rules in the Java programming language. Disobeying any of these rules might result in possible compilation error. In other words, you might not be able to compile your program if you disobey any of the Java programming rules. So we're going to talk about a lot of these rules. There are hundreds of these rules that you have to know and memorize, integrated into your memory. It's not a big deal. You learn them from time to time, but we're going to take it step by step, and you within a period of time you should be able to you should be familiar with all the rules of the Java programming language. So let's get rid of all these comments in here so that things look a little bit clearer for us. Then we talk about some of the possible compilation errors that we may have. So I'm gonna get rid of all these comments here. Okay, then to be sure that I'm on the right track, then I'm gonna go ahead and compile this program. So I'll bring up the command prompt. I'm gonna do a cls, and then I'm gonna do javac example1.java. If it compiles, no news is good news. And then let's talk about, for example, if you forget to include this semicolon over here in this system.out.println method, let's see what happens when you do that. So let's go ahead and try to compile. Now back to command prompt tips and tricks. Instead of you to repeat by typing java example1.java, you can simply press your up arrow key to bring up the previous command that you used instead of typing it. This is a kind of shortcut way of typing whatever command you type over and over again. So I'm gonna simply press enter, and we have a compiler error. Now when you have an error like this, the first thing you need to do is don't panic. You have to read what is written on by the compiler. In this case, it says that example1.java at line 6 had an error, and the error is semicolon expected. Let's take a look at line 6 in our example1.java. I'm gonna put these windows above each other. So you can see over here that on line 6 we removed that semicolon, and that's exactly what happened over here. Okay, that's what the compiler is complaining about, that it expects semicolon on example1.java at line 6. So compiler errors can be fairly easy for you to understand. Sometimes the compiler is confused, and which will go on to the next thing that we're gonna do but let's compile this stuff by replacing the semicolon, and then come over to the command prompt and java example1.java, and then this is good news, so we're back. All right, so the next thing I would like us to take a look at is, take for example, you mistakenly you break the rules of your class naming rules by putting space in the name of the class. And let's try and see if that's gonna compile. So java example1.java, what do we have? So it says example1.java on line 2, which is where we declared our public class example1. It says error curly bracket expected. Okay, public class example, and it's even pointing to where the error is occurring, but the compiler is not smart enough to tell you that, hey, it did not spell your class name correctly. So what the compiler expects is that when you have a class name like example, the next thing should be a curly bracket, not something like 1. So that's what it's trying to tell us over here. So you can see sometimes the compiler can be very smart. In this case, it knew that it expected a semicolon, but in this case it's telling you that it's expecting a curly bracket, not telling you that you have spelled your class name incorrectly. Okay, so Those are some examples of compiler errors. So let's compile and we are good. All right, let's say you forget to close the curly bracket over here. Let's save this and try to compile and see what was going to happen. So Java example 1.java, and then we have example 1.java error at line 7. Now take a look at where line 7 is. It's not pointing to where it's expecting the closing curly bracket. It's simply saying pointing it at line 7, and it's now saying it reached end of file without while passing. And what does that mean? Okay, it's not even trying to tell you that you missed the curly bracket for closing the example 1 class. All right, so but actually if you see some error, a compiler error like this, you should be able to detect that, okay, you've missed some curly braces. All right, so I'm showing you this so that when you see something like this, you should be able to know what's the problem. All right, so let's put back our curly brace and compile, and then we are good. Okay, so those are some of the few compiler errors that I would like to show you in this particular video. We'll be encountering compiler errors every time we program, not every time though, but most times. So keep your heads up whenever you see a compiler error. Don't panic. Try as much as possible. Like, remember to read everything that the compiler is saying in this error statement, and then use your intuition and understand what the compiler is trying to tell you. So I wish you good luck on that, and I hope you found this informative, and see you on the next video.